Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Today I'll be demonstrating how to replace the joysticks on both the left and right Joy-Cons. Later, I'll also show how to calibrate them. All the different sections of the video will be timestamped for easy navigation. So what you'll need for this repair is a Phillips 00Y screwdriver, a normal Phillips 00 screwdriver, a pry tool, some tweezers, and of course the replacement joysticks. The kits I sell, which come in packs of either 2, 4, or 6, come with all the tools necessary for the repair. Link in the description. Let's go on ahead with the repair. We'll first start with the left Joy-Con. On the back you'll find 4 of the Y screws. Go ahead and remove them. They are quite small and can get lost, so you may want to consider putting them in a tray of some sort or a magnetic pad. And once the screws are removed, we'll carefully pry up the back plate with the pry tool, as there are 2 cables connected to it. The cable to the battery will need to be pried up. One way to do this is to wiggle the green pry tool under it and lift up. Once that's taken care of, we'll then pry the battery off as well. Sometimes the adhesive under the battery is pretty sticky and might take a little more effort to remove, but once removed, we can place it to the side. Holding the battery cover are 3 small screws, where we'll use the PH00 screwdriver. We'll also carefully lift up on the battery cover because there is a cable holding it in place. Personally, I like to leave this cable there while replacing the joystick, but if you find it gets in the way, you are welcome to unlock the ZIF connector it's connected to and remove it. The 2 necessary cables to remove are the joystick cable and the minus button cable. They are also connected to ZIF connectors, and to remove them, just lift up on the tab and pull on the cable. It's finally time to replace the old joystick with a nice working new one. Now putting everything back together is essentially the reverse of disassembly. Screw in the 2 joystick screws and connect the 2 cables back to the ZIF connectors. Then make sure the L button is in place before placing the battery cover. Screw back in the 3 screws. Place the battery in the case and snap in the battery connector. And next we'll put on the battery cover, making sure it is flush with the controller. And then we'll screw in the 4 Y screws. The final step is calibration, which we'll cover after we finish the right controller. And moving on to the right controller. It's practically the same as the left controller with some subtle differences in the controller layout. We'll first start by removing the 4 Y screws on the back and carefully prying open the back plate, as we don't want to damage the 2 cables. Then comes lifting up on the battery connector, then removing the battery. There are 3 we'll remove with the normal Phillips 00 screwdriver that hold the battery cover in place. Here, there is a small gray cable on the battery cover that we'll pry off. Be extra careful when maneuvering the battery cover because it also has a small cable attached to it. As with the left Joy-Con, I like to leave this in place as it's unnecessary to remove, but you may do so if you wish for more working space. There is just one ZIF connector and 2 screws left on the joystick that we'll need to remove in order to replace it. Now we'll replace the old joystick with another nice working new one. And putting everything back together is basically the reverse of disassembly. Screw in the 2 joystick screws and connect the joystick cable to the ZIF connector. Make sure the R button is in place before putting back the battery cover. Then screw in the 3 screws. Reassemble the gray piece on the cover. Place the battery in the case and snap in the battery wire connector. And finally, we'll screw back in the 4 Y screws. And now comes the fun part, where we get to see if the joystick is in proper working order. To do that, we'll go to the calibration settings within the Nintendo Switch console. Connect the controller or controllers with the new joysticks to the Switch. Anyway, to get to the calibration, we'll go to Settings, then scroll down and select Controllers and Sensors. Then scroll down and select Calibrate Control Sticks. Before getting to this step though, I like to update the controllers first to make sure that they're up to date. If the controllers are up to date, you'll get a message saying all controllers are already up to date. Now to calibrate the joysticks. To select the joystick we want to calibrate, we will tilt it for a couple seconds. On this particular joystick, the centering is quite bad, and so is the range of motion. We are definitely going to want to calibrate it. To do so, we will hit the X button, then follow the next instructions by moving the joystick right, down, left, up, then around in a circle a few times. Once it's complete, you will get a message saying, "Calibration complete," and test the new calibration. It turns out to be perfectly centered and full range everywhere. Just what we're looking for. Moving on to the right joystick. In this case, it looks like we already have perfect center and full range of motion, so no calibration necessary. Thanks for sticking the video out to the end, and if you found this video helpful at all, feel free to give it a thumbs up and perhaps even a comment. Have a great rest of your day.